And now high school education is free. So Korea is a fully developed country, right?
Except if you've been to school in Korea, you know that you can't get by just going to middle school and high school.
And the Gwaoe system perpetuates the Pimbu Munje.
Yes.
The Pimbu Munje means the rich-poor division. And in this regard, I hate to be so nasty about it, but in that measure, Korea is not really a developed country. 안녕하세요. This is Mark Peterson, the Frog outside the Well Research Center. Today, you all know Derek.
안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
And Derek was in town. You're living up in Salt Lake now.
I live in Bountiful, so it's a little further out. That's where we can afford to live right now. So.
But you had an occasion to come down to Pro.
Yep.
You said, let's get together
Yes.
and do a film. And I said, that's great.
Absolutely. Anytime I have the chance to work with Dr. Peterson, it's a treat for me. So.
Well, you know, my best-selling video is with one with him. So let's do another.
Yeah, it's not because of me. So.
It is because of you. 600,000 views. Let's do it again this time. And this time, 축하합니다. We're talking about the Nobel Prize.
Yes, it's been extremely exciting the past week or so with this news. I know Korea's all ablaze with excitement, and so is the international community. So.
And you've read all her books.
Yeah, I have all of the translations and the originals here, and I mean, I'm missing maybe a thing here or there, but I have read and loved all of these for years. So I was very, very happy to hear this news.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And everyone in Korea is excited, and we offer our congratulations.
But what comes to your mind with this, Dr. Peterson?
Number one, congratulations, wonderful. I don't want to do anything to take the shine off the moment.
But this is a fight he's been fighting for a long time. He's been blowing the Korean literature trumpet around the world for decades.
I have been, it's true. And yet, you know, the Nobel Prize is really a magnificent thing. Mm-hmm. You know, in the Kyobo bookstore, on the entrances, both entrances, they've got this all these portraits of Nobel Prize winners, and then they have the frame with the question mark in it. This can be you.
Oh, I don't think I knew that. That's
oh yeah,
okay, wow.
Yeah. So inspiration to the young students who come in here. You can win the next Nobel Prize. The problem is you're not going to win the Nobel Prize by memorizing and memorizing and memorizing.
For getting ready for Sunung.
Yeah, and that's my concern and my criticism of the Korean educational system. And yet, the Korean educational system is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And when, you know, our yuhakseng come to BYU to study, they're all outstanding students. They're really, truly outstanding. So the Korean educational system is wonderful. And in many regards, it's the best in the world.
Yeah. High
school graduation rate, college graduation rate, and all of that. But there's a deeper question, and that is the creativity. You know, whenever a company or a government organization hires a graduate from college, they automatically put them through a year-long, sometimes several months-long training program to learn the way we do it. I was just in Korea, and I was talking to a fellow who teaches at the Government Administrative Training Center. And when someone passes the Kodunkoshi, which, you know, means they're qualified to do something, they're qualified to study for a year more and learn the way we do it. In other words, the school doesn't teach the way we do it. And it's the same with Samsung and Hyundai. They put them through their training session to do things, they make sure they know all the things they want them, the things they didn't learn in college. So that's kind of a condemnation of the college system. You just can't hire someone. We do training as well, but it's not a year long.
I mean, if you think of the purpose of college as prepping for a career, what? Yeah.
And in Korea, maybe college is to check the mark and then you go on, not necessarily to teach you all the things you need to know. Now, that's a very critical statement, but let's look at it this way. How many Nobel Prizes does Korea have now?
Number two.
Yahoo!
Which is very exciting, yes.
Okay, but not to be really snotty about it. How many do they have in Bolivia and Colombia and Pakistan? And, you know, we're in that category of country still.
Right.
How many Nobel Prizes does Japan have?
I know this from you.
I just told you 31.
Yeah.
31. And what kind of prizes do the Japanese get?
Well, they've gotten few of each, I think.
Yeah. Economics, medicine, physics. I think they've had them all.
They won the Peace Prize this year.
and the Peace Prize. And so Korea's got a Peace Prize and a Literature Prize, the two best ones.
I agree.
Now they need to work their way down.
Right.
And how's that going to happen? One of the problems is, as I see it in Korea today, is the Gwaoe system, the Cram school system. The Gwaoe system sort of perpetuates the same thing you do all day. There's nothing added. There's no value added to the thing. There's just time added. Value added, my point of view, would be to do something different. And if you're going to concentrate on a 12-hour school day, unlike the American system with its 6-hour, 8-hour school day, where there's not enough time, music and arts are being cut right and left because we're concentrated on STEM education. And Korea does STEM all day and then they do STEM all night. And I just wonder if Korea wouldn't be smarter to diversify. And there's nothing that fosters creativity more than music. And there's all kinds of music, vocal, instrumental, string, brass, woodwind. There's all kinds of things that a person can do to learn how to read the music. Arts, all these kinds of arts are very creative. Creative writing, compose a shijo. This is one of my biggest complaints about Korean education. You've heard this before. That when I talk to my Korean friends and say, I'm very interested in shijo, and they say, shijo? Oh, shijo poetry? Yeah. Oh, yeah, 옛날에 있었죠. 옛날에. Not today writing a
right.
shijo.
I mean, it's such a representative literature form of Korea, and it still has impact. You read an old shijo translated to English, and they're powerful.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful poetic form. We're trying to get it going in America, like haiku, like the Japanese haiku is going in America. One other criticism about the Gwaoe system, I think if it went in more of a creative vein, it would be better. But there's another issue, and that is, what's the difference between a developed country and an underdeveloped country?
There's probably a lot of indices we could use for that.
We've talked about the Coca-Cola index.
The McDonald's index. Yeah.
But one of the indexes is the education index. And that is when I first went to Korea in 1965, one had to pay to go to junior high. And not everyone could afford it. And you had young people working in, labor jobs.
To make the money for tuition.
Yeah, or they just skip it because they just have to go on. But they passed the hurdle of junior high education. Then they still had to pay high school education. And now high school education is free. So Korea is a fully developed country, right?
Except if you've been to school in Korea, you know that you can't get by just going to middle school and high school.
And the Gwaoe system perpetuates the Pimbu Munje.
Yes.
The Pimbu Munje means the rich-poor division. And in this regard, I hate to be so nasty about it, but in that measure, Korea is not really a developed country, but because they're perpetuating a inequality of education that really inhibits them. So there's a question of what kind of education they're getting and how creative it is and how they're doing it and who gets the education. And all of these things could be resolved. Now, I've got a radical suggestion.
What's the solution here? What could we do?
Well, we can't do anything, but they might be able to. I would suggest that the Gwaoe system, it cannot be eliminated. It's ingrained. But I would suggest that they look at nationalizing, taking over, the Ministry of Education taking over the
Hagwon.
The Hagwon, yeah. And certify Hagwon as, with certified teachers, put the teachers on the payroll. This is going to expand the budget, which is going to be fought by a lot of people, but a lot of people are already paying for Gwaoe.
Yeah, I mean the lowly normal person is paying the money for Gwaoe, and the people that are running these private education centers are the ones that are just becoming rich off of it.
Yeah, and so
to what benefit?
To equalize this, that would help. And this brings in one other problem, and that is the poor birth rate in Korea today. The birth rate is so poor because everybody has to pay so much money to compete and get the Gwaoe and all this sort of stuff.
And I can tell you, I'm 31, and my peers are the ones that everyone's saying, you need to have kids in Korea. All my Korean friends, when you ask, well, why aren't you having kids? Because most of them aren't. What they say is, I can't afford to educate them.
Yeah. I can't afford the house. I can't afford the education. So if the government would bite the bullet and make it so that that's no longer an excuse, that education of the children is taken over now, like a developed country. We don't have this undeveloped country where the rich have it and the poor don't. The poor are always fighting to try to keep up. So I know it's a radical suggestion, but that's my suggestion, so that Korean kids can get married, have kids, and win a few Nobel Prizes.
Yeah, and this isn't coming from a place of criticism, because Dr. Peterson's the one that's been saying for years, Korea has what it takes. Korea has these people. But you look at someone like Hangang, most of these kinds of people didn't go to Hagwon growing up. Most of them spend their time reading books and composing poems and things like that.
Which is the point of my suggestion on Hagwon, as it diversifies.
Right.
And we have more sports,
more music, more
physical education, music, arts, and these sorts of things that create the brain more than memorization.
Because right now you have all these because I agree, I teach at the University of Utah, and my best students are my yuakseng from Korea. They're good students, so they're smart enough for this. But the problem is, you ask them to do something creative and you get a kind of a blank stare. I was watching the cooking competition recently, and this went really viral in Korea. The culinary class was 흑백 요리사, and there's a challenge where they say, okay, take all these ingredients. You can choose any ingredient you want from the convenience store and make a delicacy out of it.
Oh my.
And about 9 out of 10 of them made ramen because they couldn't think of anything. So the creativity is...
Koreans have great creative potential. Look at what phone do we have? We've got we've got the LG and and look at the cars we're driving. I drive 2 Korean cars. I have a Kia van and a Sonata hybrid. They're wonderful cars, wonderful things that Koreans are very capable of making and competing. Korea rated number 4 one year, number 1 on the Bloomberg Innovation Index.
Wow.
There is such a thing.
Wow.
So they are innovative.
And look at their pop culture. I mean, they've completely reinvented the world of pop culture.
Yeah. And only foreign language film to win the Academy Award. All these other Crash Landing on You. And all these other really appreciated worldwide. So there's great creativity out there. But, if Korea's going to catch up to Japan, Korea has surpassed Japan on per capita income.
Oh, wow.
Last year.
Wow.
They're $35 ahead.
Wow. Okay. Well.
So just marginally in the yearly income.
Right.
Korea is now ahead of Japan.
The other area they've surpassed Japan is, you ask the average American to identify an Asian language nowadays. What do you think they're speaking? Korean. Because that's the one that we're seeing on TV and in the movies. 20 years ago, they would have said Japanese.
No idea.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, anyway, sorry to offer such a downer on a day of celebration, but no, we really sincerely celebrate not only Hangang, but all the writers and the whole literary scene in Korea.
I think as people who have been studying and familiar with Korea, Dr. Peterson's devoted his life to it. I'm just getting started, but we know that this isn't the anomaly. There's a lot of this in Korea, and the reason that perhaps Korea hasn't had the ability to push it out into the world in some of these areas that are being recognized in the Nobel Prizes, for instance, is perhaps because of energy that's being wasted in these other pursuits that we're describing here. So,
well, onward and upward. We love you, Korea. We love that you've got the Nobel Literature Prize. Let's go on and win a few more literature prizes.
Yeah, I believe it's going to happen. I can't wait for it to happen. So,
Japan has how many? 3
literature prizes, right?
Literature prizes, right?
But this is better than theirs. I mean, this is really of the moment. So
yeah, that's wonderful. It's wonderful. So congratulations. We'll let it go here and catch you next time.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Peterson.
Bye.